Well, in this video, we see how to download and install Tibula. Let's go to http://github.com Tibula. Go to releases, the latest one. We are on Apple Silicon, so it's Darwin ARM64. Download the file. Now, open a terminal. Now, enter the downloads directory. Check if the file is present, then extract it. And here's Tibula. The setup operation requires the command setup, a username, which would be admin by default, the main user of the system that can create tables, other users, and everything else, and the password. Of course, we also need to pass a database type, a DB type, but the default is equite, and a DB name, which by default is tibula.db. So in truth, we can install Tibula with just the command setup. It asks the system to confirm that the default user is admin, a password. We have finished installing it. Now we can launch it. To launch it, the command is start, and we can pass three options, which are web host, default localhost, web port, default 35,248, and web path, which is the path where the HTML, CSS templates and everything else defaultly included in the executable. And then, of course, all the database parameters, but by default, are equite and tibula.db. So, we can simply proceed with Tibula. Start. It says it's listening on localhost at port 35,248, so let's proceed to port 35,248. And here we have Tibula listening. Let's try entering with any user and see that it doesn't allow us. Instead, let's use the credentials of the admin user. And here we are inside Tibula. Tibula is divided into three main operational areas. These are administration, structure, and system. In administration, we find user management, group management, and translations related to Tibula's user interface. In structure, we find modules, which are SQL tables, fields, which are the fields of the tables, permissions related to each module, and links between modules. It should be noted that from the user's point of view, Tibula is divided into three operational areas: the search mask, the results list, and the input mask. And the last one is system, which is composed of commands, so commands: logout, search, save, new world. Sessions, which is practically the table that includes all the data related to the current session for each user. Links, which is one of the fundamental tables that allows connecting the individual field of a specific module of a specific table with the individual field of another table, and languages, which are the languages present in the system at this moment. Let's see languages, for example, and see that currently there are English, Spanish, and Italian. If desired, we can add, for example, German. Save it. At this point, German will also be available. It doesn't mean that there are translations in German, but among the available languages, there will be German. A peculiarity that we can see in these two fields, considering that this is still a non-final version of Tibula, is that name and nameful are enclosed in curly braces, indicating through this that there is currently no translation for these two fields. For example, let's add a translation for these two fields just to see how the search and insert masks work. This is a search mask. I search, but I don't find. I can search for name, and there are several names, but they are related to commands, fields, groups, modules, sessions. What's missing is, for example, the one for Edge languages for the languages table. So let's add it. Click on New Intername, Module Edge languages, added it for English and Intername, for example. We noticed that nameful was also missing. So let's add name full. Enter full name, and now let's copy it, because if we save it, we would save it for name, and we would overwrite name. Instead, let's do copy, and now we have copied. Let's check the list, and we see that there is name full for Asia languages. Let's go back to Tibula system languages, and we have name and full name available.